All right. Hello, friends of Skelevator, and welcome to what is this? Oz episode 13.
13, man.
Lucky 13. Yeah, this is a
Yes,
this is a good one. We're excited about tonight. We got a
very
lot of
excited.
stuff to talk about. But Oz, let's tell us a little bit about. So this is Oz's brilliant idea, folks. Oz, tell us about your idea for tonight's show.
So, what we have going on is a way of reaching back out to you guys within the community, the viewer showcase.
Yeah.
And what we've talked about, we're going to go ahead and do this as a monthly event where
Yes.
you guys can send us stuff throughout the month, label the email viewers showcase, okay? And send us some images. And
That's
then what we're going to do is we're going to do this regularly as one of our shows and just showing off what you guys are working on. It can be your collections, your art, whatever you have going on. We want to see it. We want to present it to the world and show everybody.
yeah.
Okay.
We
And, go ahead.
Oh, we're just we love one of the things we both agree on and we really love about this community is that it's just steeped with creatives and when we got started talking to each other and mentioning when we greeted some of you folks in the chat and we are like, hey, let's send me some pictures and we'll have a look at what you have. It started happening through Instagram, through Facebook, through coming in through my email, which is right down below, which you can always all use. Send me images of what you're working on. Send me messages, and I'll share that with Oz. But man, it's just it's so cool, and we're really happy to do it. What do you say? Let's talk to some of the folks in the chat real quick.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, we got Home Cineman now. Home Cineman is here, and he shared some pictures too. So we're gonna look at those pictures, Home Cineman. So stick around.
Yep,
Yep, and El Tenda's here. Good to see you. El Tenda also shared some pictures, so we're gonna have a look at those.
that's right.
And Thanos Copter's here, and Thanos Copter shared some photos, so we're gonna have a look at those.
That's right.
And oops, sorry, I skipped over one. And Gamer Bud is here, of course. Gamer Bud, our sole Patreon. Thank you for being here and
Gamer Bud.
showing some photos that Gamer Bud sent too. Oh, let's go. We got Duchess of Darkness. Why didn't we get any pictures from Duchess?
That's right. What happened to those?
I heard it through the grapevine that we were going to get some Duchess pictures, but nothing yet. But there's always next time, Duchess. And it's
That's
good
right.
to see you here. And Nolan is here. Good to see you, Nolan.
Nolan, excellent.
And Ronald Embry's here. So good to see you, Ronald. Nice to see you.
Ronald, glad to have you with us.
Yeah. Oh, let's see here. We got a little comment here. Nice. More photos for me to share with everyone as if I don't do it enough. Yeah. Oh,
It's all good.
it's all good, Gamer Bud. And by the way, Gamer Bud, as being a Patreon of the channel, gets access to a private chat that we have that Oz and I share with Gamer Bud.
That's right.
And man, I'm not going to give anything away, Gamer Bud, but he's already developed a storyline for the moat monster, Moti, that we are all excited about, having been given the green light to join the Eternia Playset. But he's already created a whole story of Moti, which is awesome.
That's right. And one more for the chat. We've got Masters Maniac Mexico. Always a pleasure to have you, Masters.
That's right. Always a pleasure. And Oz, do you want to make the announcement of the special announcement, or should I?
Why don't you go ahead and take this one? I got the last one about the event being monthly. So you go ahead and grab the next one.
All right. So we have an exciting announcement. One of our pals that we met through the community, Bobby, aka Vintage Motu, as you can find him on Instagram, is going to be joining us tonight, and we're really excited because he's going to be joining us on a fairly regular basis, and we're really excited to have him. So everybody, let's welcome Bobby to the stream.
What's up, everyone? How you doing?
We were really excited to have you in here so we can stare at that beautiful wall hanging.
Oh,
That's right.
what, the Planet of the Apes? No, I'm kidding.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're all here for Planet of the Apes, as you know.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, that's I got that on eBay a few years back. $15. So it wasn't too bad. Yeah, it's a banner, so it's beautiful. Yeah, it just hangs there.
Check this out. Corey's here. Sorry, I'm not part of the conversation. I'm on a date right now. What are you doing chiming into the chat, Corey? Get back to your date.
Get back to your date, man. Gosh, there are exceptions to the rule of having to be here all the time.
We appreciate you being here, but man, get back to that date.
Yep.
Loving the dedication. Thank you, Corey.
Yeah, that's hardcore right there.
That's hardcore dedication.
That's right. That's right. We love it, though. We love to hear it.
Yeah.
So already we got the chat popping off. Happy to hear that you're going to be with us now, Bobby.
Yeah, I appreciate that. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's definitely a pleasure to have you on board as part of the Team Toy Frenzy.
That's right. We have a lot to talk about tonight, but usually what we do is we start off with a brief conversation about any finds we may have come across, like if we came across any toys out there in the wild this week. Bobby, did you find anything out there this week?
No, I haven't gone looking for anything. I've been on vacation and I've been out of town, so it's I haven't done any hunting or nothing. But I did back Eternia while I was in line at one of the rides at Disneyland, so I couldn't pass it up. I was thinking about it. I was talking with my wife, and it just I had to do it. So yeah. That's my pickup for the week.
That's a big pickup.
Yeah, that's an enormous pickup, as well as you can say you're one of the ones that got it fully back to 5,000. You're one of the ones that got us Moti. So I mean, that's huge.
Yeah, it's gonna be it's exciting. I know it's a long wait for it, almost a year and a half, but still, it's worth it. That's the only vintage playset I do not own or have any piece of it, and I've always wanted to get at least one of the towers someday. But now that I can get a full set, it's not going to replace vintage in my eyes, but it's still it's a welcome item, I believe. Yeah. It'll stay in the box. I apologize to people who are going to yell at me about that, but Motu Origins is something I keep in package because I have vintage opened, and I always wanted packaged vintage, which I can't afford. So that's my alternative.
That makes sense to me.
It's a good alternative, and probably the most space economic way to display it is still in the box. So.
Yeah, for the Eternia Playset, yeah. Was it 4x3s? Yeah, it's a big spot to put up.
Oh God, yeah. It takes some real estate up in the collection, that's for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Gamer Bud was able to find 3 figures: New Eternia Skeletor, Zodak, and Revelation Tila. That's awesome. The classic edition. That's great, Gamer Bud.
Fantastic.
I'm going to restate a joke that I made in our text messages earlier, our message through Instagram earlier, which is Bobby was at Disneyland and bought himself a Disneyland. Because I really feel like this Eternia playset is the ultimate fort for toy collectors, right? And that's kind of what Disneyland is. It's like the ultimate fort. You go there and you're like transported, and it's so cool that we can do that with this giant 3x4 foot playset now. It's almost a shame to keep it in the box, Bobby. I'm going to try and convince you to get that thing out. Get it.
We'll see. We'll see. Maybe in a few years after I get it, I'll pop it open.
Yeah,
I just like the box art so much too, as well. It's
right.
It's a collectible in itself. So
always, when it comes to Motu, the box art is just as much collectible as any of the figures by themselves.
Yep.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's good. It's so we haven't seen a release yet of the box art for Eternia, have we?
Not the new one.
No,
Yeah.
I did post a couple photos on Twitter of sketches that Roy Juarez posted on his Instagram account, and it looks similar, but they're not fully done yet. But they had Laser Light Skeletor and He-Man up front, but then the other sketch didn't. So I don't know what they're going to do with it. But that was like a tease, I think. They also had Mantisaur. I believe it had Hordak. It's hard to tell, but then that was removed as well on the other photo. So it's definitely they're throwing stuff at you to get you excited.
I'm excited.
Yeah, it's going to be. I believe it's going to look pretty similar to the original, but a lot maybe different characters added in and stuff instead.
That's always fun, and they've done that with a lot of the other packages too, where certain characters, like whoever the box is for, they tend to be in the same positioning, but other characters they're interacting with are different, and in a lot of cases, nods to who's coming in the future.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. I'm gonna catch up on the chat real quick here. We got Nolan chiming in. If it wasn't for the payment plan, wouldn't be able to. Yeah, that the payment plan option is awesome. And of course, we got Collecting Classics joining us. How's it going, Ray? Good to see you.
What's up,
man? I've been having so much fun watching Ray's videos, reels on Instagram all week, just like promoting the heck out of the Eternia playset and really rooting for. We got to get Modi. We got to get Modi. And yeah, so Ray, thank you for doing that, man. So much.
Absolutely.
And
yeah, he called me while I was in line at the Rise of the Resistance, and he's like, "What's with all the noise over there?" I was like, "I'm in line at Disneyland. What do you need?" He's like, "He's talking to me about Eternia," so it was funny. Yeah, he's a funny dude.
Yeah, Ray is great. Ray's great. Brings a lot of light, a ray of light into our lives.
Yeah.
Hillian Dread's here. How's it good? Good to see you.
Hillian Dread, awesome.
I was lucky enough to barely back Eternia. Yeah.
That's good. That is good.
Oh, the chat is exploding. How did I miss all these? Let's see here. Okay, well, there's a lot of chat about Eternia, and I get it. I get it. It's Ray. It's fun times to be a Motu collector. Absolutely. Everyone is super excited. Oh, we got Skyfall in here. Good to see you, Skyfall.
Skyfall, excellent.
Oz, what did you pick up this week? Anything exciting?
Absolutely. I was pumped. So this past weekend, my son came down and we were able to go out and go toy hunting together. And he must have been my good luck charm because finally finding new waves in store without having to go buy it online. So picked up a couple of goodies this week. I finally have the 2000X He-Man, finally found him.
Nice.
And as well as finally getting Pighead to go with my son man.
Nice.
That's awesome figure.
Yeah,
that's
so finally was able to get both of those. Yes.
That's fantastic. It's been such a, I don't know about you, Bobby. Bobby, you're in Arizona, right? Like,
yes.
How's the supply chain been down there?
Well, from what I've seen, especially around the whole country, I think it's almost the same everywhere.
Yeah.
Everybody's got the Buzz Off, the Jitsu, the Stratos.
Yeah.
Maybe a Green Goddess here and there.
Yeah.
The new vehicles come out, but it's almost. That's why I don't drive around everywhere anymore, because it's the same at every single store. You can go to 10 Targets; they're all going to be the same. Because I've seen somebody in Maryland have the same. Up in Minnesota, it's the same. Colorado. So Arizona is the same way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been rough. It was, but I do want to say, in piggybacking off of that, I went into one of the Targets. So I'll backtrack a little bit. I did find something. I'm going to show it in a little bit, but So I've been going to Targets like every other lunch break, trying to a different Target in town, sneaking in, checking the things because I found something this weekend, just like Oz did. But every Target that I've gone into and had them look in the back for stuff, they look at the DPCI for Mantenna because I'm really on the hunt for Mantenna. And they go, oh yeah, we've got some in the back. It always gets me excited. They go in the back and then they come back. They're like, yeah, we have. I mean, the numbers are ridiculous. 65, Jitsu buzz-offs,
Wow.
and that wave. 65 of them in the back. Some of them
That's
are
crazy.
We got 20 back there. We've got a couple unopened boxes, but we know it's that wave, and so it's like it's a really strange phenomenon.
Right.
Master Versal Toy Hunter, welcome back. We're doing well. Hope you're doing well.
Yeah, one of the biggest problems with them checking the SKUs is it all goes off that shelf tag in their inventory.
Yeah.
And the shelf tags for the first wave was He-Man, Skeletor, assorted.
Yeah.
So He-Man and Skeletor were the only two figures to get a singleized SKU according to their quantity numbers.
Yeah.
And then what happens is that assorted SKU eventually took over for the rest of the wave. And now that's pretty much it just for the figures. They put it under the one SKU in the aisle.
Yeah.
So what the problem is they find that, oh, well, we don't need any new Masters of the Universe characters because our pegs are full of assorted SKU. And like back at the early part of the year, they were getting several different assorteds. Like at least the way it went around here was we had Wave 6 and Wave 7 hit stores at the same time. As a matter of fact, it almost seemed like they were exclusive because at first Wave 6 was found at Walmart, Wave 7 was found at Target, and then eventually it just spread to Wave 7 all over the place because that's what they asked for. They wanted more of this SKU, this assorted Motu SKU. And they got filled up with Wave 7 and sat there all year long.
Yeah. Yes, I think someone needs to document the history of the waves, how they showed up in stores, how they didn't show up in stores, because it's like when Oz was just talking about it, it's like walking down memory lane, like the experience of going out there on the toy hunt.
My history would be terrible. It would be He-Man, Skeletor, Wave 5.
Yeah, totally.
That's weird with the distribution. I don't understand it. Like you were saying, if they had like 65 Jitsus back there, that's why we don't see any other waves, because they're still trying to get rid of that wave, and they're not going to order anything new until they get rid of that stuff.
And
exactly it.
And like I don't know why we haven't clearanced any of these, because they've been back there for a while. It's not all Jitsus, it's all from that wave, but it's like I mean, at some point you got to clear that stuff out so that new stuff can come in, right? I mean, because they probably keep track of the stock in the back as well.
Yes, yep.
They do. What's happening is the newer waves are going to distribution centers. Because again, this is what I used to do for Walmart. I used to work in their receiving. The new waves are hitting the distribution centers.
Yeah.
So when a store does end up selling out, eventually those will funnel into the store.
Yeah.
Because the distribution center will send whatever they have to go to the store. But they're not going to send anything if a store is sitting on 65 Motu figures from Wave 7, because those aren't selling. So they see that it's not selling.
So someday we'll end up getting those trap jaws, maybe.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
I wouldn't hold your breath. By the time it gets here, you'll be blue, and
but it's just weird.
Gamer Bud, so you said I've still never seen a Stinkor or web store in store. So does that mean you don't have it? Like you don't have those characters? Because I just saw a Stinkor at a Walmart not too far from where I live. I'd be happy to go pick that up for you if you're still looking for the Stinkor. They don't have a web store over there, but they do have a Stinkor. So get in touch with me either in the chat or email me. But going back to, I want to go back to this real quick. Duchess of Darkness complimenting Bobby's shirt. Hopefully you all know who Sven Gulli is. And I want to say,
Right.
I don't know if this was like somebody making one of these out there, but I believe that NEXT's Toonie Terrors are coming out with a Sven Gulli. And if any of you don't know who Sven Gulli is, definitely look him up. And
Yeah, I watched him since I was a kid, and I met him once right before I left Chicago. I was able to meet him, and
awesome.
I got an autograph from him, and he's a real cool guy.
Awesome.
And I love him. It's like almost like a father for me because I'm very into like old horror stuff as well.
Right.
And yeah, I grew up watching him since the early '80s when I was able to watch him. Yeah, he's one of my favorites.
I've been holding off. I like most of those Toonie Terrors are really great. I love that line, but I haven't been buying them.
No, I haven't either.
But I did get the Grady twins from The Shining. Like, I'm dedicated to that movie in multiple ways. If I see the American Werewolf in London Wolf, and I believe it comes with his friend. I'm blanking out on his friend's name as the ghost, as the mutilated ghost.
Right.
If I see that in the store, I'm gonna have a hard time resisting that, and I'm definitely gonna have a hard time resisting Sven Gulli.
Yeah, they just announced that this week, I believe. So
yeah,
it's new.
Excited. So I found a couple things. The thing that this is the figure that got me like checking the targets on during my lunch breaks, but you know, the 2000X Skeletor. And of course, it's part of the same wave that Oz found out there. So, folks, I already ordered Mantenna. I have them in my pile of loot through Big Bad Toy Store, but I just want to see Mantenna on the shelf. I just want to have that experience. But speaking of that, like when I saw this online, I was like, not too excited for some reason. It wasn't doing it for me. But seeing it in person, this is the head sculpt, the face sculpt in particular is phenomenal. The pictures online, folks, do not do this justice. This guy is great. And I can't wait to get him out because I'm going to totally open him. But I saw pictures of his sword online, and that looks pretty great too. So stoked to find this. And then I'm a big fan of Gremlins, and these are just hitting the stores now. The Gremlins 2 Gizmo, and it's not the one. This is reasonably priced. This is $17.99. I've always had this complaint about NECA figures never going on clearance and always being in the $25 and up dollar range. Most of the time, $32.99, and I can't justify that, especially if I'm looking for affordable figures like the Origins figures. Right. This is $17.99, and that Gizmo is amazing, and it's just him by himself. And it's a reissue. I think these came out early. Like, I know that all these figures did come out through NECA like around 2008 or something like that. So I was stoked to find this.
Absolutely. Well, because they had released a version of him where he came with all the accessories, like the little Rambo bandana thing he puts on his head, and the paperclip bow and everything else he had.
Yeah.
So this is just like a minimized down version, and because of that, they cut down the cost of it quite a bit for people who just want a Mogwai.
That's right. I just want Gizmo.
Yeah.
I just want Gizmo. That's all I want. I don't need all the other accoutrements to come with my Gizmo. I need Gizmo for some toy photos. That's all I want, NECA. And you gave it to me, so.
You can make your own paperclip crossbow. It's not going to cost you a lot of money.
I can make my own Rambo bandana. Like, I don't need all that stuff. And so when I saw this, I was just really like, thank you, because those prices are steep. Why don't those figures ever go on clearance? They're sitting there for months. I've seen some of them sitting there for months.
I think just NECA controls it because they stock it themselves as well. So it's not ran by Target. So I think that's how they are.
Yeah.
Yeah. They don't. It's not the big Target store clearancing them. It would be NECA, I believe.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I got their Friday the 13th in Planet of the Apes figures, but I don't. I wanted those new D&D figures coming.
Oh,
those
yeah.
are going to be expensive as well.
You know, that poor Duke just like rocked my world.
Yeah.
I saw somebody post some pictures of them on IG today that they had some, so they're hitting the store.
Oh, really? That's been sitting around for a long time, waiting for those to be released.
Yeah.
So I'm excited because, like you guys, I've wanted those.
Yeah.
Well,
oh man,
good words, J-Ban. Hey, sorry, I use that word as in a humorous way. So, but yeah, sorry about that. I'll try to limit my vocabulary.
So what I'm trying to find out here is is this Jay? Are you trying to go incognito? Coming in with the plain name. I won't say the full name, but anybody who's got your media knows who that is.
Today
if you're trying to hide,
I got this for $4, which was a total steal. I'm just gonna plug Heroes Comics in Fresno, California. I found this for a really good deal. So yeah, I think this might be mine actually, because in about 1997, I sold all my comic books to them. I'm 90% sure that this
That's funny.
Oh man. All right. Yeah, it is. Well, here we got Mega J coming in. LOL. All right. We called you out on this, Mega J.
I was just curious.
All right, guys. So let's get into it. We've got some good stuff to look at, and we got some submissions. We requested 3 images from each submitter. Some of you sent a ton of images and have been sending me a ton of images, so it's really, really hard to pare it down. But I'm going to go ahead and add the slideshow to the stream. So this is our very first viewer showcase. I'm really excited, Bobby, you could join us for this.
Yep.
It's nice because we get to look at your collection behind you and Oz's collection behind him while we look at other people's sculpts and their collections. So now, Oz, anything you want to say before we jump into this?
I just want to say thank you for everybody who donated for tonight's slideshow. It's really awesome to have seen your collection, seen your work. I know I've seen quite a bit of it, between your social medias and stuff, but it's really awesome to be able to spread that out and show it here on the channel. It's really great. It's a good way for us to, give something back to you guys, since you guys are here week after week, and we really appreciate it because we enjoy being here with you. So thank you, everybody. And again, for those of you who did not submit this month, as I said, just go ahead, keep sending them in, and title them Viewer Showcase. Make that the subject on the email, and that way we know. And you can send 3, send more than 3, but at least prioritize the best you can which 3 you like. Or you want us to show.
And again, it's your collections and or artwork that you make based on the stuff that you collect.
Right.
And that's just, that's one of the things that when I started this channel, gosh, are we going on? I think I'm going on almost 3 years now. But when I started this channel, definitely 2. I don't know. But when I started this channel, it was because our daughters were like, "You should put your Castle Grayskull that you made online and show the process and stuff." Because I was building this Castle Grayskull, and it was terrifying to put this in what I thought was a totally insane endeavor to build a giant Grayskull and to build a giant playset. But it's been awesome, and sometimes all it takes is just to put our stuff out there and share it with our friends so that we can feel like, yeah, we're not crazies. I've felt like you see that scene in Close Encounters of the Third Kind when Richard Dreyfuss is like he's trying to create the mountain out of mashed potatoes and the whole family thinks he's crazy. That was like the situation for me. but when I realized that I was attached, I was joining this larger community. It was like, oh, this is great. Like, so yeah, we want to help promote that kind of community. And as Jay said, hit that like button. That's right, folks.
Thank you, Jay. Yes.
Jay also says, speak for yourself, Skelly. I'm nuts. All right. Well, I think we all kind of are in some way here, for sure. Oh, and Gamer Bud, the internet can be cruel, and that's true, right? The internet can be cruel, and sometimes, and I've gotten some pretty nasty comments since I've started into the YouTube realm. We just got to slough it off and remember that so much of us really do appreciate it. And you know, Gamer Bud, put your stuff out there, man, because it's cool, and we're gonna have a look. So we're gonna start off with Thanos Copter. This is, you know, you all know Thanos Copter here in the chat. This is also Thanos Copter's Instagram tag. Is that the word for it?
Yep.
And so at the Thanos Copter on Instagram, where you can see a lot of his photos, and some of which we're going to look at here. The first one here I want to showcase because this was my first experience with Thanos Copter before we started communicating so heavily online. Was his health skull, his sculpt of Hell Skull, and he reached out because he saw what the stuff I was building is like. I've made this thing. So you all familiar with Hell Skull, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, the anti-Eternia Castle Grayskull. So Thanos Copter built this with that's a doll's head in the center. I'm sure you can all see that, which is perfect for the Hell Skull. But I think this is amazing.
It's stunning in like such a good way, because I mean, you've seen the artwork on the back of the box, and if you look up Hell Skull, there are a couple of images of it. Not too much, because this is from what was originally a book.
Yeah.
So there was only descriptions of it within the story. But to be able to actually see it brought to life from those descriptions, from how Axel kind of took those descriptions and brought them into the physical world on the packaging, and now finally fully seeing this a little bit more, it's gorgeous. It's really gorgeous. I like it a lot.
Yeah, same here. The color is awesome. The paint is great.
Like a pearlescent white.
Yeah. Yep.
It's very cool. Sorry about the use of the word pearlescent. It's pearl-like. So yeah, Thanos Copter's Hell Skull rules. That's so true, and it's to scale with the Eternia minis, which is great because they don't get a lot of love, and I love that this playset can give them some love. Oh yeah, there you go. Perfect. And this one is one of you and I. This is one of our favorites of Thanos's. You all recognize this image, right?
What is that?
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding.
Bobby and I are, I don't know, probably around the same age. We've talked about this. Our first introduction was through the mini comics, and this is just that classic scene from the mini comics. And Oz, you were the one that pointed this out to me because I don't know how I missed this, but you were like, yeah, he used the Hot Wheels battle ram in the back to create a depth of field, which is like,
that's brilliant.
Yeah.
I can't rave over this enough because of the detail like that, being able to utilize that to create more depth to the photograph. And, it's such an iconic scene that we're all familiar with. Even if you didn't originally read the mini comic, you have probably seen this image by now.
Yeah.
And it's an excellent, excellent rendition of it. Excellent work, Thanos Copter. I can't get over this one.
The Hot Wheel was what gave him the idea for the scene. That makes so much sense. Yeah.
Wow.
Right. And the utilization too of the Origins legs for the boots to just be laying there.
Yes, it's fantastic. I wouldn't have thought of this. And I mean, I just love that he built the cave. I'm assuming the cave is either like styrofoam with maybe like how I would do it would be styrofoam with plaster cloth and plaster. That might be a little bit. That may not be what we're seeing here. It looks like it could also be paper mache coating the styrofoam too, but it's just great. There's a term for people who make landscapes for train sets, and that's a foamer. I don't know if you've all heard that term, but diorama makers, I admire them, man. It's such a cool art form. Oh, the ground has sand painted in. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's a really neat technique I've found out from watching many videos is to get that kind of texture. You
Yeah,
mix in particulates like, sand or even some people use like aquarium rocks,
yeah.
like the aquarium pebbles and mix it in with like gray paint to, kind of glop it on somewhere.
So the foam is from boxes. So I mean, we're all toy collectors. We all buy things that probably might have some chunks of foam in the boxes, uh, or or um, or small pieces of cardboard to help fill the space or whatever it might be. Like use that stuff, folks. It's like
Yeah.
it's all there, and it otherwise we're just throwing it in the trash and it's becoming waste. And styrofoam and also go to your backyard for the dirt, right? I mean, or go to your neighbor's yard or go to the park, get the dirt, and take clippings from bushes while you're walking the dog or whatever you do. Like that's kind of what I do. That is what I do. It's not kind of what I do. Stealing from people's yards and things, and construction sites. Use the stuff.
That's right.
And then I love this display of his. It looks like we're either right outside of Snake Mountain or just entering Snake Mountain or in Snake Mountain. Very cool colors here.
Yep.
Beautiful.
Absolutely.
So it looks to me like Thanos Copter built this right into his display shelf, which is also very cool.
I agree. I love the extra details with the lava flowing down, and reusing like these cheaper end kind of dragons and animals as different mounts for them. Because I think we all did that a lot, as kids. Beastman, you always wanted to have some kind of other beast kind of thing, but they just didn't make anything else. So being able to create your own and put it in there, and then even the utilization of vintage with the modern here, because you see Screech up at the top.
Yeah.
It's just a gorgeous look, and it screams Snake Mountain's coming. The little thing I can't even see exactly what's hanging out of the land shark's mouth, but it's been chomping on some stuff.
Oh, is it like that? Looks like Modulok.
Oh, is it?
One of the legs looks like Modulok.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yep.
And the background is just tissue paper, as gift tissue paper, as Thanos said. Yeah, that's cool.
Another good, easily gained crafting item. When you visit, family's house and everybody's giving you those gift bags full of that paper, snatch it. Don't throw it away.
Yeah, definitely. All right, now that's it for Thanos Copter. So thank you so much, Thanos Copter, for submitting. And even if you submitted to one previous episode of the viewer showcase, feel free to submit in the future as well if you've got any new things coming up. And
Absolutely.
now, Butch Simmons is a friend of mine on Facebook, and he reached out to me through Facebook. Sorry, Butch, if you do have an Instagram handle that I'm not aware of, but Butch Simmons is part of the collecting community on Facebook, and he's been working on some custom Origins figures, and
Wow.
and this is awesome. And I hope Matt Dooch is watching because from Legends of Grayskull podcast, because he loves this character. And here we go. We finally have him. And that's probably exactly what he'll look like in Origins form.
Yeah, I wish I could do stuff like that, but I can't. I'm not creative in the arts like that. It blows me away. That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's something that everybody's wanting, and he has one already. So
that's right.
Yep.
That's right.
Yeah,
wow.
I mean,
Go ahead, Oz.
it was my, I definitely had the idea of making my own Wondar by grabbing several of the different He-Man, especially since that was all I could find on the shelf.
Mhm.
And Mattel was nice enough to grant that wish and do the work for me, so I didn't have to. But I mean, I love it when people are like, you know what, I'm gonna make my own, and they kind of do their own thing. They end up making it before it's ever out, and then Mattel will come along and eventually release one. And it's nice to get that, but you still made your own. And I mean, this figure just, it looks incredible. It,
Yeah,
it definitely looks like Mattel had brought this to the shelf.
man, it's amazing.
Yeah. And when I was looking up close at the chest area, it looks like he actually excavated the plastic from the chest because it's not on top of the chest. It's actually embedded in the chest, that
Mhm.
radar, that Cyclone's radar.
Hmm.
Yep.
And it's so that's like such a like extra step, like above and beyond, like digging into the plastic to create that thing. So that figure blew me away. Yeah, that's awesome. Draft.
Right.
Welcome, Draft. Good to see you.
Glad to have you here. Now, I don't know if he sent you like any comments as to how he made it, since I don't know or see if he's here in the chat, but um, do you know if maybe he went to like Toy Polloi did a repair video
Hmm.
of a vintage Cyclone, and I'm just wondering like if he went to that video to get ideas on how to customize or this figure because he had to replace most people who had this figure. You lost at least the top band around the helmet. You may have kept some of the bands going lower down. Uh, Dave went ahead and he made he remade the sticker in the center
Yeah.
because it was very hard to actually copy the one that came with the original figure because it had that kind of hologram-esque
Right.
thing.
Yeah.
Not quite a hologram, but a lithogram, I think, or that's not the word for it. So he went ahead and made one that was very reminiscent of it. Of course, it didn't have the effect that the original one had on it. But I'm
Yeah.
wondering if he used that to kind of do it, or whether he just crafted this one wholly himself. I
It,
mean,
it,
either way, it's gorgeous.
yeah. I think he may have used like he may have sculpted some elements, but the symmetry is really great, which is like that's very difficult to achieve to get the fins on the shoulders to be the exact same shape on both shoulders, especially if you're sculpting things by hand. So it would be
Yeah,
I will reach out to Butch and see like, hey, what are are you using a 3D printer and what are you doing and have you like looked at Toy Polloi for any of this? And Home Cineman is saying Dremels are our friends for sure. Dremel is probably how he excavated the chest area.
I
Uh,
would imagine. Yeah, some kind of rotary tool is probably easiest.
so here's another one too that he did, which I thought was awesome, and he names this She-Man, and it's remarkably well done. I mean, it looks like this is something you could buy in the store. So
Yeah.
and it's mostly he's piecing together elements from other toys
Right.
to create this female He-Man.
Well, yeah, because the hair looks like either Revelations He-Man or nah, it looks a little too long for classics. But like
Revelation He-Man hair.
yeah, yeah, and then of course the loincloth area, the kind of well for her it looks like a furred skirt.
Yeah,
It's definitely that piece, and then attached to it like looks like origins parts. But it's amazing the work that went into this, and definitely If this were sitting on a shelf, I'd buy it.
Heck yeah, me too. That's the Masterverse Evelyn face, definitely. That's the Masterverse He-Man hair, the first release of He-Man. And probably the loincloth too, I think. But I mean, it's all over the place. It's awesome.
Right. But it looks astounding. Like, it's really, really good.
Yeah, it's very cool.
Yeah.
Sorry, Bobby, what were you gonna say?
No, I was say if I tried making something like that, I ended up throwing it in the garbage because I wouldn't be able to do it. It blows my mind to see. I love seeing people create things and be able to make it look like it could be store bought. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's very cool. It does. It's like it makes us feel like if we're not practiced in this art form, it makes us feel like why would we even try when we see something so interesting, right? And so it feels like it would be impossible to make, but I'm fairly confident that if you put some time into it, Bobby, and dedicated weekend afternoons to working on these things, that yours would turn out to be just as good eventually too.
Yeah, maybe, or they'll just always look like Igor from Young Frankenstein. Couldn't get the proportions right, for the eyes.
I love that character, so if they end up they all look like that, I'm cool.
I'd buy one of those. I love
maybe,
Igor.
maybe I'll end up making them all Igor, and just that's my specialty.
Did you find
Why not?
the Mego Igor?
No, I don't. The only Migos I get are Planet of the Apes, but I did see that one in store, but I never bought one. No,
I got one. I'm really happy I have that.
Yeah,
that character's like ever since I was a kid. That character is one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Welcome, Brick Something. Good to see you.
Glad to have you here.
All right, we'll go on now. This one, this character's already come up in conversation tonight, so I'm really excited to show you this. But Origins.
I want that.
Yes, me too. Me too.
I have the vintage one right there, but
I'm so jealous that you have the vintage one. I've been looking for a good deal on a vintage one. That's a little bit. I'm being a little picky with that because there aren't many deals out there. But
yeah, I used to have one when I was a kid, and when it originally came out, but I never knew where it was from.
Right.
And then I found out it was. I always thought it was like Lord of the Rings or something, but it was D&D. I was like, whoa! I had to get one again. I got a couple other figures as well from that, but yeah. But that Warduke's helmet is always just so iconically awesome to me.
Right.
Great. And I don't know. First, I want to say Fish Tropic Canada, welcome. It's Modi's cousin. That's hilarious. But I'm. This is another thing that I can't quite figure out, and maybe I just don't have the education because I don't recall a Warduke being released with a head sculpt that big. So where did this come from?
Right.
The Origins figure. If it could have been 3D printed, of course, but I want to know, right?
Yeah. Sculpted or 3D printed. Yeah.
It almost looks like a repaint of a Mythic Legion's head sculpt.
Could be.
But I can't swear for 100% though, but it looks very similar to that. I'm loving how he must have used a heating element or a heat gun to bend out the prongs on the power sword to get, the cross guard on there. I mean, this looks awesome.
Yeah. And maybe a print. So yeah, it could be 3D print. Fish Tropic Canada, cool figure, absolutely. Maybe even a modified Magneto helmet. That could very well be too.
Yeah.
But the straps are actually leather. I got a good close look at this. They look like they're leather. They don't look like they're like pleather or fake leather, which is cool too. GamerVet says maybe or Onslaught too. It could be for sure.
Yeah, maybe.
Really like this guy. And I think it's funny that we already brought Warduke up in conversation already tonight, and here he is.
He's awesome.
I was gonna say it's really hard not to bring up Warduke. Like if you were a kid growing up in the '80s and you saw those Dungeons and Dragon figures, like Warduke immediately caught your eye, and you were like, I need to have this.
Well, plus if you're a Beastmaster fan, they had that character where he had the fins on his helmet as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I was a big fan of that movie too.
Yeah, me too. I just watched it not too long ago.
Can we do an episode where we talk about Beastmaster?
Sure.
I'd be down for that. Yeah.
Yep.
That movie. I love that movie. It could also be a helmet from the Witcher figures, perhaps. Yeah.
Oh, maybe.
They're all on clearance. If I saw this helmet on a Witcher figure in clearance at Target, I'd get it too.
I want to go get that horse.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I think that would be fun for Roach. I'd love to have Roach.
Yeah.
I didn't even know they had figures out. I like the show. I've never seen the figures. I don't believe I have. Who makes that?
McFarlane.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I haven't bought McFarlane in years.
Kodo and
Funny now. He's the affordable choice.
Yeah. I think the last thing I got from him was the movie Maniacs, and that's a long time ago.
Yeah, that was early.
Yeah.
I had a bunch of his Halo stuff because I was a huge Halo fan.
Okay.
I'm looking it up now to see who's making the Witcher figures. Unless somebody in the chat beats me to it.
I don't see anything popping up yet. But in the meantime, what I'm going to do is move on to the next person. So Butch, thank you so much for sharing these.
Yeah.
And just
fantastic.
He sends me a lot of photos of the things he's working on. There's more too. Like maybe next time we do this, I'll show he did a Prince Adam and a Dora, which was really awesome too.
Nice.
Here we go. It's McFarlane who makes the Witcher figures.
Okay.
Thank you, Gamer Bud. I definitely knew you would know. Yeah, I just did finish looking it up too and saw that it was McFarlane, definitely.
And speaking of Gamer Bud, we've got Gamer Bud's selection of photos next, and these are great. I'm not gonna say too much. First one is his collection on his desk. Like this is where he does his work, and this is what like he's doing his whatever he does at the desk, working from home or whatever it might be. But the struggle is real, man. Like imagine working with all these figures there staring at you. I wouldn't get any work done.
I'd be playing. I got a couple on my desk when I'm working, but
yeah,
you end up like being focused on that and playing with all those. Instead, you end up losing 20 minutes. You forget where you're at.
Yeah, totally.
Gotta resist the urge all day.
And I love the screensaver too. It's one of my favorite images.
Yeah.
So great. I don't remember the artist who did that, but it's one of my favorites.
That's Moto. Yeah, Moto. Last name Moto, I believe.
Oh yeah. And then it looks like the gray skull's been given a wash, unless it's the shading from the low light or whatever it might be. But it does look like there's paint in the crevices of the stones of gray skull, which is all, I love the way the gray skull looks with a black wash. So that could be that.
Yeah.
This is an old photo, 4 days old. I have four new figures on my desk. All right. For those that are interested, it is evolving. It is evolving. That's cool.
Ever evolving collections. And see, that's the great part about the viewer showcase too, because as the more time goes on, again, like collections change, they grow, they get rearranged even in some ways. So like, it'd be very hard for us to even repeat content because, it's always an ever evolving thing.
Yeah.
I'm excited for that.
And the thing that's fantastic, I've done this a lot on Twitter where I ask people to show me their stuff and I'll retweet it so everybody can see it, is that everybody is proud of their collection.
Yeah.
And it's something that makes them happy. And I'm very happy that it does that for them. And it's, I love seeing it. Yeah. And like I always said to people, it's like, if it's one beat up old figure but you still love it because you had it as a kid, that's fantastic. Or if you have a whole room full of this stuff, like me, I display stuff, but I got a lot of horror books as well. But I have my own closet that I have shelving where I keep all my vintage stuff. It's hard to take photos. It doesn't come out well, but that's why I love seeing everybody's stuff. It's great. I don't care if it's new stuff, old stuff. It's all fantastic to me.
Yeah, and even if the photos are bad, like or if the camera's not up to not high quality camera, or or if it's even blurry, it's just so cool to see what people are enthusiastic about.
Exactly.
Yes.
So cool.
And if all the heads are cut off, it's okay. We'll just look at the bodies.
Yeah, why not?
Now he
Work hard.
Gamer Bud. Speaking of working hard, Gamer Bud also is really amazing artist, and this is a version of Flash that he drew. And this looks to me like it's color pencils, which are very difficult to use.
Yep.
But man, this is just awesome.
Yeah.
It is.
It's
Yeah, I can't draw, so anything that anybody can draw is fantastic to me.
Yeah, you've seen my drawings. They're like, I'm okay with the fact that my drawings do not look like real things, but it took me a while to get to that place where I'd be like, okay, it's just going to stay this super weird proportion thing. That's okay. But when someone can draw like this, something photorealistic, like that just blows my mind.
Yep.
yeah, I
That's
completely
fantastic.
agree.
And I'm not a big DC or Marvel fan. I'm not a big superhero fan, but I do like seeing people's art, and it's great.
For sure. Now, if this was Hellboy, would you be?
Well, you can't beat Mike Mignola, but yeah, I'm sorry, but I met him too as well, and he's really cool. And but yeah, Hellboy is I love it. But yeah,
now
but I do, like I said,
there were a lot of mixed feelings about the Mike Mignola cover for the Revelation comics, and
I think
I loved it. I just loved that. I love his style, and I love those characters.
I think maybe those people don't understand his art or never really looked at it before.
Yeah.
To me, I was like, ooh, one of my favorite artists is doing Masters of the Universe. I was like, this is fantastic. To me, it was,
Right.
But yeah.
All right, we've got a little update here from Hillian Dread. We've hit the Modi wall since 4 a.m. There's only been 50-something backers. Once we got Modi, people slowed down buying it. Oh, I hope we get to the Keklar stage.
Like they said, one guy mentioned that, Mike, because I tweeted that question, will we make it? And one guy mentioned, he's like, well, you get 20 backers or 100 backers for the next 20 days, and then we'll make it. So
yeah. I think we'll get there.
Yeah, I was actually surprised that we got Modi. So once that made it, I was like, we're gonna get Keklar. I don't have an issue. I don't think that it won't happen.
Yeah, I'm so glad. I want to say, like, Modi was just, when they announced Modi and showed Modi, I was so happy to see that, like, such an odd thing. And so I was really happy to see him make it through.
I instantly popped for it. I was like, yes, more creatures.
Wait, before I do that, Brick something, are we still taking images for showcase? Yes, we're going to do, Oz and I decided we're going to do this once a month. So you can always send pictures. You can wait for announcements for me to say, hey, send pictures, but you can always email me pictures. I'll send them to Oz. And the most that might happen is we might have to edit it down to 3 if you send more than 3. But if you send the 3, there's we're going to show it here. So as long as it's
taste,
yes, what you're making is appropriate. And not in bad taste. And then bad taste is like what is bad taste, right? But I think we can probably identify what is definitely bad taste.
Stuff that doesn't need to be blurred out of real people.
There you go.
Yes.
Now we're getting Gamer Bud in person here, dressed up in his New Adventures outfit, and this is this is awesome.
Yeah.
So you can send stuff like this, folks.
Yeah.
I love
you've all
that.
seen me. I've shown you my pictures going crazy with Motu. So thank you, Gamer Bud, for making me not the only one on this channel showing off, when he was a little guy playing with the toys too.
Yeah.
I know some of us don't have pictures because it was like 300 years ago. Sometimes it feels like, but
weren't invented when I was playing with my toys.
In my day, they used to take pictures with a chisel and stone.
Back in my day, rainbows were in black and white.
Right. That's right. Brick something. Yes, this photo wins. I agree. I want to go back to this real quick. This is something that's very impressive about GamerBud. GamerBud's enthusiasm is like solid.
I
This
love it.
example, I wore this armor for years until it broke. Now,
Yeah.
to me, I think that's serious dedication.
Yep.
Yeah, love this so much. How cute! Love this picture. Yeah, GamerBud, you're getting a lot of comments here. I suppose if one sends two photos joined together and such, it can save on the old show time too, I guess. Well, yeah, I mean, if you could, yeah, get creative with it. If you send, 6 photos, but it's just 3, and you can make that work, I think we can handle that.
If you don't have the knowledge or know how to edit it yourself, you can always send it to me and I will splice the images for you. I'm okay with that. You just got to let me know what you want.
Yeah, definitely. There's definitely. All right, so we've got, let's see here. Yeah, 3 years. 3 years. That's awesome.
That is pretty cool because these kinds of toys, especially the role play style ones, like I don't know how long my electronic power sword lasted, but I know it stopped making noise like in a week or so after everything that I was hitting with it.
Yeah.
Even though He-Man never really used his power sword like that. Just saying.
I want to put this comment up. Fish Tropic Canada. Kids are lucky they have chairs. I think Fish Tropic Canada is playing off of how old we are. That's funny. That is funny. All right, Home Cineman made some figures, and we're gonna have a look at these now. These are awesome too. And what I love about Home Cineman's figures is that I don't know if you all remember when the previous time they announced the Masters of the Universe movie. There was an artist who was apparently linked to the design team that was going to be making that was going to help design some of the characters, and they were really dark, really almost like Hellraiser style almost.
Yeah.
Very cool. And so Home Cineman's stuff really reminds me of that. This is his trap jaw, and I want you to look at like the battle damage and the rough hewn edges and how it looks like this guy was like burnt in battle, and that's how he lost his jaw, and it's just so cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Welcome, Major Issues Comics. Good to see you.
Glad to have you.
And so these are 1/6 scale, 12 inches or taller. That's cool too.
Wow.
I didn't realize that. Home Cineman.
Yeah, you didn't send any of the anything in the photos to scale with. I didn't realize they were that huge. That's awesome.
Yeah, I didn't either. This is very cool. And sort of like a little bit of a Mad Max element to this too.
Yep.
But that jaw is dangerous. This Triclops is terrifying. But you can see that he's really thinking about that sort of maybe a post-apocalyptic look for these figures.
Yeah, very Mad Max-ish.
Very Mad Max, almost like heat fused metal with the flesh. Yes, for sure.
Now, can you imagine that was like a thing though? That'd be great.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like the in Book of Boba Fett, there was the I don't know if you all watched that series, but I have definite mixed feelings about it. But there's the sort of like droid human splicing.
Yep.
Yeah.
This reminds me of that. Like this is kind of how Triclops would look if the technology was really there for a character like this or for Trapjaw. And yeah. We do too.
Yep.
And Home Cineman's also talking about his Castle Grayskull, is also sort of post-apocalyptic style. I believe that's what he's saying there. And the next one, the Skeletor is terrifying.
That's great.
So gruesome looking.
Gruesome, but the leather, the actual, like, it looks like actual metal chains around the waist. The almost, I think it's like a pewter skull on the chest, and that like brutal like Skeletor face. So cool. Yeah. Giraffe, I'm gonna have nightmares of that Triclops. I know, right?
Well, this is the month for it, so
Yep.
we said we were going to bring some spooky content to the
Yeah.
show for this month, and this is just your first dose.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, so Gamer Bud, the Power Ranger cyborg kids. Yes, that's exactly right. If only they had more of this edge to them. If it was a little more like post-apocalyptic cyborg stuff, I think I would have been on board. So they should have had Home Cineman help them with their art design for these.
I just want to say my critique of those characters, because I enjoyed the show. It certainly wasn't what I expected from a Boba Fett show, but I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
The, I couldn't get over the swoop gang riding around on what amounted to Vespas. Like, could you imagine the Hells Angels coming up to you trying to look all but it's like they just rolled. It's a bunch of hipster looking dudes. I say that as I have a beanie on my head, and some people would say I look like a hipster. But they all just rolled out of their Starbucks and swarmed you on their little Vespa scooters.
Yeah.
They were not intimidating whatsoever.
Yeah. If biker gangs just rode around on brightly colored new motorcycles and wore nice new clothes and coiffed their hair,
Their
and maybe had
cyborg elements were
robot,
IMAX.
right? There's nothing scary about those kids.
No.
I thought they were going to come after me with the little bicycle bells, and it was going to go ching 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 ching.
Yeah. That was, I think, my biggest complaint were those characters. The rest I can accept, but
the idea was cool. It was just poorly executed in my mind.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't like that they made Boba Fett where you can hear him talk all the time without his helmet and all that stuff. It was dull.
Yeah, well, there was and I've talked to some folks about this. Sometimes if a show is too expository, Jay, there's another big word. If it's too expository, it's like, and the people are just talking about what's going on. Like comic books don't even do that. And half of what you're looking at in the comic book is text. You're looking at images and you're looking at text.
Right.
And comic books don't even do that. So a show or a movie shouldn't do that either. And as I'm saying all this, I'm doing the same thing, aren't I? Just talking too much.
Look, we are a Kevin Smith movie, which is dialogue heavy, not a Quentin Tarantino movie, which is action heavy. All right, we're dialogue driven here. That's what it is, guys.
Yeah. So then now we also have Eltenda sent some pictures too. These are primarily collection photos. And if any of you watch Eltenda's channel on YouTube here or follow Eltenda on Instagram, like this dude is a dedicated collector. He's got all kinds of cool stuff and he's constantly building his collection. And so when he sent pictures of his personal collection, I was really excited to see these. And real quick, Gamer Bud, Home Cineman, your figures are amazing. Yes, they really are. Thank you for sharing those. Definitely an exciting take on those familiar characters. And he sent me a lot more too, so I might go through and include. He's definitely going to be in the next episode. And Home Cineman, if you're listening, if you have anything additional to send, or if you have more photos of the Grayskull, because I think I only have one and it's kind of hard to see it, that'd be great. Send those my way. So Eltenda sent some pictures of his collection, and I just, look at this mass of beautiful plastic.
It's a gorgeous collection for sure.
Yep.
And that's all just, well, the slime pit over there is not new, but that looks like all new Origins and Masterverse stuff. Am I correct, Altenda?
I think there's also some classics in there too.
Okay.
Uh,
Yeah, because the Battle Cat looks like classics, and Shadow Weavers definitely.
yeah.
Actually, yeah, that Mantana as well. Okay, no, that second shelf. Okay, I thought it was that second shelf is definitely Masterverse or classics.
Bobby, do you have any classics?
I have a few. Yeah, I have a lot of the Filmation villains.
Oh yeah.
And I also have the regular classics Filmation characters as well. And then I got the Beastman and the Trapjaw. I think that's about it. I didn't get into a lot of the classics because I was moving across country when it came out, when they started. And me, I like, at the time I was a completist. So I was like, man, I missed the first few waves of them. So I couldn't go back and get them. But I did jump on the Club Grayskull figures and stuff because since I love Filmation. But yeah.
Right.
I'm in the exact same boat as you. Like
Yeah.
I couldn't do it at the time, but I did get on board for some of the Club Grayskull Filmation figures. I got the core villains just like you do.
Yep.
In Filmation style, which makes me super happy. And some I do like classics. Some previous to that, the Club Grayskull figures. How about you, Oz?
Like I've said before, man, I was late to the party,
Yeah.
much like both of you guys could not do it beforehand. Well, I was late just finding out about it. I didn't even know about it until basically Super 7 had taken over the line and was doing more Filmation stuff. So by the time I found out about it, like 90% of it was already done. And I was just like, well, I don't want to start now. And I had other expenses and stuff like that going on at the time. So just couldn't afford to jump into it.
For sure. Gamer Bud, I didn't know about classics until the William Stout figures came out. Yeah. Those William Stout figures are really awesome.
Yeah.
That Skeletor, the God Skeletor is phenomenal.
Yeah, I want to say that when I bought the Filmation Masters of the Universe DVD set, it had a insert in there that came with, and it was mentioning that classics were coming out. But I looked at it real quick and I just put it away because I wasn't collecting anything at that period of time.
Right.
So yeah, I missed out. That's when I was moving. So it is what it is.
It is what it is. And now we're getting into the detolfs here with those glass shelves. So what's behind there? Obviously, it looks like probably a complete vintage collection. Well, there's a lot of Skeletors in there, right, guys?
Gonna say that's like 3 armies of Skeletors.
Yeah.
Wow. But
Could be
hey,
all the different versions of them.
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, we love Skeletor though, so let's not
Yeah.
even try to pretend like that's not cool.
Oh, that's amazing. And some. Sorry, go ahead.
He's even got the large Skeletor down there at the bottom too. That
Yeah.
12, what was that 12, 13-inch one? Woo.
Yeah, I think that's actually a bootleg. He did open that or did find that at the what's the Bobby? You from Chicago area? What's the toy show there in Chicago? The famous one
Oh,
near Chicago. Gosh, what is? I was just watching a video.
a toy show there. I'm trying to think. They have they had so many different conventions.
I can't remember the name now, but
I don't remember.
Yeah, someone in the chat will say it, but there is the toy show out there, and I think he got that bootleg Skeletor there. And you can watch the video on his YouTube channel. It's pretty great. And El Tenda, I know you may not be watching right now, but if I got that wrong, sorry. But this is such a cool. I want to get up close, look at those things, see what's in the case. I think there's a Scareglow in there. I see a Scareglow.
Yeah.
I see a King Randor. If those are vintage, what a cool thing to have.
Yeah, I got a King Randor vintage for $40 at a toy store at a toy convention. Everybody yells at me about it now.
Oh man,
it was a while back though.
Yikes!
You know, and I remember getting him as a kid and just being like, man, King Randor does not look this cool in the show. But
Yeah.
like, he was just like, to me, he was a cool figure, but a lot of people never, they didn't really care for him. And of course we all know after the Filmation cartoon ended, he fell on some hard times. He had it rough, but he had a resurgence and he's doing great as, the spokesperson for Burger King.
Yes.
So glad to have him back.
According
Whoppers for
to,
Eternia.
according to the podcasters of the universe, he's a heavy drinker too.
That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah. So yeah, Kane County Toy Show.
Kane County. Okay.
I don't know exactly where that is. I heard that it was near Chicago, but I'm not.
Yeah, it's near Chicago. It's south, I believe.
All right, and this other one here. So he's also a Punisher fan. He sent a picture of his Punisher collection. That's
wow,
very nice.
Astounding Punisher collection.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Punisher myself. I love that he's got the War Machine Punisher helmet too.
Yeah, that's super cool. When I got into Marvel and DC Comics right after the 1989 Batman came out. I got into Batman comics, and then I moved into Marvel. And I when I was younger, I really enjoyed X-Men and Punisher. And so right after I sort of like went bat crazy, trying to find 1970s and 1960s Batman comics. I really got into Punisher again, and so it's cool to see that kind of. It's cool to see when somebody gets so enthusiastic about a character that it's like permeates their collection, and they need to have all the versions, and that's such a cool thing.
Oh yeah,
yeah, it is. Yep, I can relate to that.
I see right there on the wall back there, it looks like he's got the it's the Punisher War Journal #1 Marvel Legends figure. That was like one of my first solo Punisher books, actually. And God, it just brings back memories seeing a collection like that because it's another character that's near and dear to me.
Yeah.
So just wow. And I like seeing the Hot Wheels Motu right there on the corner.
That's right.
It's great.
Yep. And a copy of Evil Dead 2 down there on the desk.
Oh God, yeah.
Nice.
Love that movie.
I love seeing how other people's collections also resonate with myself too. Like so many of us are into the same kind of stuff, and it's great because you just feel this camaraderie with everybody.
Yeah, it makes you feel normal too.
That's true.
A little bit,
a
little bit.
It's like, I got all this stuff. Does anybody else? Unless it's like a bunch of skulls or something all over your room. That's a little weird, but.
Excuse me. All my skulls are packed up in a box in the basement right now, but
okay.
I'll eventually get them out again.
Sure.
Something. It's like you were reading my mind. I was like, "Is that Cthulhu?" I didn't know that Funko Pops did a Cthulhu.
Yeah, and he's a large one too. I've seen him at Walmart, and I was like, I didn't know they made pops this size.
Yeah, that's cool. I did allow El Tenda to show a fourth picture because he's going to be our guest next week, and we're going to talk about the theme of next week's show is Horde Halloween. So we're going to be talking about how the evil Horde characters are related to Universal monsters or other horror movie monsters. And Bobby, of course, you are welcome to join us because we know you love horror too.
Yep, I'll be here.
Yep. All right.
All right.
So here's a selection of his horror figures, his horror collection. The top two shows, of course. But yeah, look at how many versions of Ash he has down there in the center.
That's right.
And they did make a lot of those.
They did. It's true.
Yes.
It's true. Very cool. Are you guys fans of the Evil Dead franchise?
Oh yeah. It's pretty groovy.
It's hard not to be.
Yeah.
I mean, Bruce Campbell's charisma. Just
so good.
Yeah, it's great stuff. Great stuff.
My wife was hesitant to watch those movies with me, but I was like, "You're gonna love Bruce Campbell."
That's right.
And absolutely, within the first 5 minutes, she was like, "That dude has something special."
Even the TV shows was good too.
Oh, the TV show's good.
Yeah, Ash versus Evil Dead.
Yep.
I was so excited when they announced that.
Yep.
This is speaking of other TV shows he's in. He is the whole reason I got into watching Burn Notice.
I've never seen that.
He's in Burn Notice.
Yeah,
About that.
he plays the main guy's like best friend, so he's in like every episode. I found out he was going to be in like the pilot, and I watched it, and then I got hooked immediately. And again, the other characters are cool, but it gave me more Bruce Campbell, and that's what I was concerned about.
Yeah. That's awesome. Anytime we can get Bruce Campbell, it's great.
Yes.
So, which of the characters on the top shelf, and we can all kind of see what we've got represented there. We've got Michael Myers Halloween. We've got Hellraiser.
Mm-hmm.
I can't tell what that one next to the headstone is, but then there's Leatherface. There's Hellraiser again. There's what looks to be like a Dracula. There's Predator. There's Kurt Russell from The Thing. There's Terminator. There's RoboCop. There's Chucky. Hellraiser again. Wolfman. Mummy. Nosferatu and Frankenstein. And I might have missed something, but which of those stand out to you all as your favorite horror movies?
Oh, that's a tough one.
I know, right?
Favorite or scariest? There's a distinction.
Favorite.
Okay.
Go ahead, Bobby.
No, I was going to say I'm a huge fan of Universal Monsters.
Yeah.
But my favorite is Friday the 13th with Jason and stuff. I love that franchise. Me and my wife, we talk about it like how The Sopranos would talk about The Godfather. Did you see part 1? Yeah. Did you see part 2? Or stuff like that. So we'll talk like that when we talk about scenes in the movie. Yeah, that happened in part 5. And she's like, yeah, that's right. But yeah, Friday the 13th is up there. I'm a big Clive Barker fan. I have all his books back there.
Cool.
And I do love Hellraiser. But it's I just like the first 2 movies. The other ones, they're all right. But yeah, but Universal Monsters has a sweet spot for me. I watch them every year.
Oh,
so
yeah. Right.
Yeah. Yep.
Absolutely.
The one that doesn't get mentioned a lot from Universal that my favorite of them all is the Phantom of the Opera from 1925, the silent film.
Good. So good. And actually terrifying.
Yeah.
For a silent film. And also Universal monster movies aren't really that scary.
Mm-hmm.
But that one is actually scary.
Yeah. Same with Nosferatu. I know that's not Universal Monsters, but it is 100 years old this year. And I love Nosferatu. It's creepy and everything. It's a fantastic movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my piece on the monster stuff.
How about you, Oz?
Well, when we're boiling it down to my favorites, Predator is probably my favorite of all time because I was a huge Arnold fan as a kid.
Nice.
And just something about the Predator always resonated with me. That being said, of course, I also love seeing Terminator up there.
Yeah.
But if you want to go into the scariest ones, Hellraiser for me was definitely horror franchise wise, straight horror. Hellraiser was it all the way. Clive Barker just knows how to scare the crap out of you with that stuff.
Yeah.
And of course, again, everybody loves the Universal because again, although not maybe scary to us per se, the Universal monsters and the movies themselves, the actors, that played them are just so iconic and near and dear to your heart. I used to have Universal monster movie posters on my wall as a kid.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you also got to put yourself back in that day. That's how I when I watch them, I think I'm in 1931, seeing it for the first time. Right. Frankenstein monster comes out and he turns around, he looks at the camera and they zoom in on him real fast. That would scare the crap out of anybody back then because they're not used to seeing that.
Right. Right. I mean, just seeing a motion picture by itself was an astounding thing to them.
Exactly.
So seeing these mythical storybook creatures come to life it's a very terrifying experience.
And I like those. I like a lot of silent films, and I
Yeah.
like that George Melees. I don't know if you know what he does. All those silent little shorts and stuff. The Magician. Yeah, that stuff to me is still mind blowing. Even though we know how it's done now,
Yeah.
it's still back then was just brilliant.
Yeah.
So,
So Brick Something is pointing out a really great thing that I discovered not too long ago, which was right when our daughters were talking about Among Us, the video game. I was like, that's the thing. And so we watched the thing. And they were like, oh my gosh, that's so true. That is the thing. I mean, but I wanted to point that out because that's, to me, a masterpiece.
yes, I believe so too.
It is all of the artistic efforts that we love about everything that came before in horror just is magnificent in that movie, and it's friggin' scary too. I mean, it's hard to, I can never, the chest scene with the what are those called?
The execution of practical effects for that movie were mind blowing.
When the chest breaks open and that just still gets me every time. But my favorite Universal horror movie is not represented on the shelf, El Tenda, and that is The Creature from the Black Lagoon, which I think is a masterpiece.
Yes,
and I love the design of that character. One of the main reasons why I love Merman. Probably the main reason why I love Merman's design. But that movie, we watched it a couple years ago, Creature from the Black Lagoon. I try to watch them as frequently as possible, but watch it with the whole family. And
watch Svengoolie. You guys them on.
Right?
Yes.
But man, it's good stuff. Such good stuff.
Yeah, the thing about the thing, which sounds funny, but you got your isolation.
Yeah,
you got the who's who. Who is it? Is it that one that is the alien or not? That's
right.
That's what's great about it. So it's like a horrifying mystery.
Yeah.
But and we're no escape. So it's good stuff.
Well, and the ending was perfectly executed as well.
Yes.
Because it does not end on a definitive note specifically. And I think that's probably one of the most terrifying things.
Yeah.
Now, it's very funny that GamerBud would actually pick that and put that up. All of you know me as Oz because that's what I go by. However, my actual first name is Christopher, and my middle name is Lee because my dad decided after seeing Christopher Lee as Dracula, he really liked how that, first how the name rolled off the tongue.
Yeah.
And there's this thing in my family about having our initials as CLG. So Christopher Lee is actually how I got my name. So any of his stuff definitely holds a special place in my heart, even if I don't actually like having the first name Chris, because at my age, that was like the most popular name of all time. And I went through my entire life, no matter where I was, with having like 30 billion other Chris's around, which is why Oz is stuck around.
So what's your favorite Hammer horror film then?
There you go.
Ooh. I have to get back to you next week on that one.
Sure.
I have to, just because it's a rabbit hole in and of itself when you're looking at different things, like to try and decide which one you really want to go for.
How about you, Bobby?
I like the I'm slipping on the name, but the werewolf one.
Oh yeah. That's so funny because I was just thinking that too. I was like, oh my god, I hope Bobby says the werewolf one with Oliver
Reed. Yeah.
Oliver Reed. Because I can't remember the name of that movie. Darn it. But
I have the original book from 1930s, The Werewolf of Paris.
Oh yeah.
And that's what they based the movie on, and it's pretty close to the film. Or the film's pretty close to the book, I should say, since the book came before. But yeah, the werewolf, and sometimes I get brain farts and I can't remember the name.
Anybody in the
But-
chat remember
Curse of the Werewolf.
Curse of the Werewolf. There you go.
I
So
had
many
to look it up.
curses and hands of, and like the Mummy movies.
Yeah.
The curse of the Werewolf. Yep. Yeah, that one is perfect. Hammer horror film.
Nolan's got to go. Well, good to see you here. Thanks so much, and good journey. Yes, Nolan, have a good one.
Yeah, see ya.
Journey, Nolan.
Yeah, Curse of the Werewolf. I have that Oliver Reed. I have the T-shirt with his face on there.
Oh, awesome.
Werewolf design.
Yep.
It's iconic.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
And Dracula, 1972. Home Cineman said, "Now is that the one where Frank Langella Skeletor played Dracula?"
The 19. Yeah. What that was? Yeah, Dracula 1972. I want to say yes.
I think that's the one where Frank Langella played him, which is another classic version of Dracula too.
Yes.
And I love that we get a Skeletor, a guy who played Skeletor who also played Dracula. I mean, it makes so much sense. Or maybe it was in Home Cinema. Maybe it was 1970. I don't know. Well, we should have done this is an impromptu discussion. Here we go. Home Cinema. That was 1980. Okay, so maybe 72 was. No, Christopher Lee was pre-70.
No, he was before 72 because he would have been like in the 60s.
Late.
Well, Christopher Lee did the first Dracula, and then I believe he did not do another one until years later because they didn't want to pay him. So that's why they made other Dracula films without him. And then he came back as Dracula later on.
And the 1972 one is a continuation from him as Dracula, actually, because I had to look it up.
Yep.
Because you also had the late, great Peter Cushing,
Yeah.
Grand Moff Tarkin as Van Helsing in that one.
Yeah, that's right.
That's why it was standing out to me.
Yeah, because they did like Brides of Dracula, which was a different vampire.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Frank Langella, 1980, Dracula.
Yep.
I need to just go back down classic horror as a whole at this point because there's been so much crazy new stuff with horror that just doesn't really strike a chord. And then I find myself watching the same ones like almost on a schedule throughout Halloween because it's like, ooh, got to get in the spooky season. Let me get my lineup ready.
Yeah.
And so much of it just falls to the wayside because I've watched these things like my whole life.
Yeah.
And, they fall away. But horror was definitely like my top movie genre for decades. So.
Yeah, it still is for me. I still love all the classics. I've seen so many. I used to own so many on VHS.
Yeah.
Plus watching Spaguli every week, it's near and dear to my heart. I
used to love watching, Creature Theater and of course Tales of the Crypt.
I remember that. Yep.
God, I love Crypt Keeper.
Home Cineman says Gary Oldman's Dracula was the best. I agree that Gary Oldman's Dracula was phenomenal, but that movie's so hard to watch because of Keanu Reeves and Winona Ryder. But I definitely appreciate Gary Oldman as Dracula.
Yeah.
The problem with Dracula is so many outstanding, iconic actors have played it over the years that competition to be the best Dracula is so close and so hard because each one brings something different and all of them play the character with a certain gravitas because that's what that character demands.
Yeah.
Much in the same way that we say Frank Langella brings gravitas to Skeletor and the way of the line delivery and everything else. He did the same thing, doing Dracula. And, again, with Christopher Lee and again, Bela Lugosi, who didn't even have to speak really. It's so many good actors have played him over the years. It's hard to pick a definitive one. I mean, of course, Gary Oldman stands out to me because around the time I was young, that everybody was raving over Bram Stoker's Dracula. But as I got older and I'd seen more of the other films, it's like, it's good for a more modern day depiction. I like that better than I like that Dracula Untold or whatever it was that came out a couple years back now.
Yeah.
And even that's okay. But you know, yeah, it's really tough to pick who is my favorite Dracula because they're played differently.
I know who my favorite is. Leslie
You're gonna,
Nielsen in Dracula Dead and Loving It.
you know what? Then let me pick Eddie Murphy.
Yeah, perfect.
Those are around the same time too.
Yeah, Gamer Bud said there are some new horror movies on Shudder. Yeah, so you've all heard me mention the podcast Wake Up Heavy. My friend who talks about horror movies and cult movies there on that podcast. It's an awesome podcast. You should all be listening to it. But he's been trying to convince us to get Shudder for ages now, or ever since it launched. And I agree. There's a lot of good stuff on there. I just haven't subscribed yet. How about you guys? You subscribe to Shudder?
I don't. No.
I used to. I used to have it years ago. Finances, finances tighten up. Had to drop some things, and it's just tough to keep paying for certain services. But yeah, I definitely used to have Shudder because again, it's really good for horror.
Yeah, Tubi is a good alternative if you get Tubi. It's free, and they have a lot of horror films. Sometimes it's hard to get certain ones during like October that you really want to see because it's Halloween. That goes to the paid subscriptions, but you can see a lot of good stuff on Tubi as well.
Well, the funny part is even the paid subscriptions pull the heavy hitters in October.
Oh yeah, of course.
Like Hulu and all them, like they notoriously, like leading up to October, will have every Friday the 13th movie on there. And then right as it gets to October, they pull all of them. And then they put up a bunch of the B-rate, B horror movies up. But it's cool though because you're still looking for horror movies to watch, and sometimes you get exposed to films you would have never watched otherwise.
Yeah. Gamer Bud said The Howling movie.
I have the book.
Yeah.
And the movie is a little different than the book, but The Howling is my favorite Wolfman movie besides the Wolfman from Universal Monsters.
Right.
Yeah, The Howling is awesome.
It's like American Werewolf in London and The Howling are neck and neck for me as the two best werewolf movies ever made.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, Howling. They were still doing them. So many of them throughout my life that they definitely have became the premier werewolf franchise. Yeah. And I mean, of course, we got the underworld thing, vampires versus werewolves, but no, Howling definitely brought it to real. Because I mean, we had a American Werewolf in London, and that was great. But then we didn't get another one until American Werewolf in Paris. And
don't even. You can't even mention American Werewolf in Paris. I feel like by saying those words, we're cursing someone. Maybe me. That movie was so horrible. Did you try to watch it at least?
I never tried to watch it. No,
I turned it off. I did not care for it.
Horrible. So, Bob, you kind of when I said they're like neck and neck, American Werewolf and The Howling, you're obviously on Team Howling.
Oh, of course. American. I'm going to get a lot of crap for this.
No, you're not.
The American Werewolf in London, to me, it's okay. It gets kind of boring. I don't know why, but it does that for me. Plus, his dead friend that comes back, with the comedy stuff. I'm a big Johnny Dangerously fan, and he's in that film. Okay, and I can't get that out of him watching that video of him trying not to do things before he gets married, and it's
Griffin Dunn. And it's hard to watch. So that it's to me, I think that's brilliant that they have this mutilated man as the comic relief. Like,
no, I get that. Yeah.
But I have a hard time breaking from the Johnny Dangerously version of Griffin Dunn also.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, for sure. I get that. It's hard. Comedy horror is difficult to do.
If it's done well, because comedy does go with horror, it's side by side. There's a lot of comedy in horror, even though it's presented kind of funny. It really isn't if you really think about it deeply, but it's always there. Yeah. The big one is Alice Cooper. He always says that.
Oh yeah. Sure. I'm just going to say goodbye to Master Versal Toy Hunter. Good to see you.
Absolutely.
Yep. Thanks.
Thanks for stopping in. Can't wait to see that review.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah, I agree. The Howling is a there's definitely an acknowledgement of camp in The Howling
Yep.
that American Werewolf in London has as well. But The Howling it's dirtier, it's grittier,
Yep.
it's weirder.
Mm-hmm.
The set design by the same dude who was doing Texas Chainsaw Massacre. You see some of that in the woods, and it has a different edge to it. And I agree. They're neck to neck because they're both, like, for me at least, they're both like really well made werewolf movies.
Oh, they are. Yeah, it's hard to have a good made werewolf movie. Yeah, I agree with that.
Speaking of,
a lot of films struggle.
Yeah.
One of my favorites from the Howling franchise is Part 3, which is about kangaroos in Australia.
Yeah.
Kangaroo werewolves, wereroos, I guess. It's so weird and so bad and so surreal. But yeah, love that one.
Yeah, well, and that's my thing with it too. Like I said, The Howling, it kept going and kept going. We kept getting more, and I just really enjoyed that because I've always been a fan of werewolves. And when they did start, introducing it as other ones, and yeah, 3 was definitely 3 is one of my favorites because it's just in the realm of the werewolf genre, so abstract.
And just
if you read books, there's a couple of them one's The Wolfen. They made a movie of it. The Wolfen's really good.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
The Wolf Man, I forgot the author. I can't see it from here. And then The Hyde Effect. Those are some real good werewolf books if you really wanted to get into it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Great advice, Bobby.
Yep.
Get your on, folks. It's that time of year.
Yeah.
So I think we're coming to a close. Any final thoughts, folks?
Well, I want to say, Bobby, thank you for joining us, becoming a member of the team. It's definitely awesome to have you.
Yeah.
Always appreciated your opinions before, so it's fun knowing that we're gonna have you side by side with us, most weeks and doing a show together. It's gonna be a lot of fun. And if you guys haven't heard yet, Bobby's also kickstarted the Powers of Eternia. And Bobby, why don't you take it from there?
Okay. Well, first I want to say thanks for having me on. I appreciate you guys. You guys are awesome. I'm very happy to be able to join you guys. Well, I'm hoping every week, so that if I can, I'm looking forward to it. It's gonna be a lot of fun. But with the Power of Eternia podcast, that's gonna be starting in November. It'll be monthly, so it's only one episode a month. We have Oz is going to be joining me, and also Adam, who is the author of the Battle Ram blog website. It's a fantastic website, articles, everything that you can possibly want to know about actually the beginnings and all the figures and vintage and all the stuff. He's a wealth of knowledge, and he's a real awesome dude. And I can't wait to get that started. It's going to be a lot of fun, and it'll be probably, I think it's going to air on the third Monday of every month, I believe is what our schedule will be. So yeah, that's going to be excellent. So please tune in and subscribe and all that stuff on YouTube. And once our podcast airs, it'll be officially on all the podcast apps. So then you'll be able to find us on all those as well. And then, of course, I have a Twitter and IG account for that, Powers of Eternia. And then, this has been awesome, and I'm happy to join the team here. It's great stuff. Went by real quick.
Yeah,
a lot of fun.
These conversations, 2.5 hours come by. It's like that.
Yep.
And it's really, it's such a great place to be and talk about this stuff. And Powers of Eternia, folks, I'm gonna make sure I put the link down below, so that you can all subscribe to that YouTube channel. And also, you can, as Bobby said, you can find that on Instagram and on Twitter and where else did you say? Snapchat?
No, I'm not going to go crazy with all the places. Just Twitter and Instagram, and then we'll be on all the podcast apps.
There you go.
So,
So if you're listening through the Apple Podcasts or whatever you're listening to your podcast, definitely tune into that. Once a month, you're going to get all the Motu goodness that we all love. And having Adam on there too is awesome, guys.
Yeah. He's going to be awesome with it. Yep.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to that because, I mean, you guys know I have a wealth of knowledge when it comes to a lot of Masters of the Universe stuff. And Adam is one of those resources. I go to the Battle Red blog for.
Yeah, I think a lot of it I even do. So yeah, he's got it and he knows it.
I visit that website once a week,
Wow.
Right.
So, and probably most of you that are watching this right now do that too, maybe not even knowing like who's behind it. And so that's a great way to tune in to that information.
Yep.
And you get to hear Bobby and Oz talk too, and they're awesome. So
yeah, appreciate it.
I want to say, Bobby, it's great to have you on here.
Thank you.
Always enjoy your input. And I'm just stoked that it worked out for today. What a nice surprise, and I'm excited to have you on in as many episodes as you can join us on.
I definitely will. I'm
glad that you're going to join us and El Tenda for next week's episode of Horde Halloween, where we're going to continue our conversation about horror movies through the lens of the evil Horde.
Awesome.
And that's just like, to me, that's like a home run because I love the Horde and I love horror movies, and we're going to talk about all the connections between those characters and movies that have either come out before or even after. Might have some inspiration from those characters. And I just want to say, and as Thanos said here, nice to see everybody sharing stuff. Everyone that was featured in today's show, I really appreciate you taking, gathering the guts to send your stuff over our way, because it takes a lot of courage to share your creative energies and your creative endeavors. And it takes a lot of guts too to share your collections too with the world. And so I really appreciate you taking a chance and sharing your stuff with us. And I know that Master Versatile Toy Hunter said he was going to tomorrow rewatch this and find out how to submit. I'm going to tell you right now, go ahead and send 3 photos of stuff you're making or your collections to SkeleVade or at gmail.com. That's listed right down below. If you're curious about the spelling, it's a little different than the way I spell it here. And so have a look at that. Submit your pictures. We're going to do this, as Oz said earlier, we're going to do the viewer showcase once a month. We don't know exactly what day yet, but it is going to be a Thursday. And what day out of the month we're going to do it? But, well, I guess, what is today? The Thursday. So around Thursday, on a Thursday near the 20th next month is when you can. I'm not looking at the calendar. Is when you can expect the next viewer showcase episode. But I want to say thank you all for being here. The chat's just been like exploding tonight, which is awesome. We're not going to talk about Eternia more than what we already did, because that conversation is going on and it's continue to go on. We're all really excited about it. It's so cool. And I have some exciting news that I'm going to post about the Eternia Playset soon. But that I already told Oz, so that's why he's smiling over there. But that's right. So we'll talk more. We'll be talking more continuously, and please click like and subscribe. You know the whole YouTube thing. Click the little bell icon so you get alerts every time something pops up on this channel. And definitely subscribe to Powers of Eternia podcast. You can listen to these guys continue the conversation over there once a month. What else? Am I forgetting something?
Well, I just want to say again, this Monday, I made the announcement that I'm moving the solo Ostradamus Toys live show to Saturdays. So no longer Monday nights. That'll be Saturdays at 9 p.m. As a matter of fact, the original time slot for this show. So everybody can catch me there. And of course, again, Bobby has stated starting soon, we'll be doing the Powers of Eternia podcast as well. And of course, you can occasionally see any one of us pop onto Mega J's channel as we all like, jumping over there and, follow the members of the Awesome Verse. Of course, Skelevator's channel was the foundation of that with doing Toy Frenzy with me. There's my channel. We have the Powers of Eternia is part of the Awesome Furs family. Mega J Retro, collecting classics, all key elements in that.
Yeah.
So make sure you guys find us on Instagram, YouTube, and most of us on Twitter as well, and on Facebook.
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of folks doing, putting out some really great stuff right now. Definitely follow rewatch this. Follow the people that submitted because they're taking chances, putting their stuff out there, and it's really awesome. Bobby, thank you so much for being here. It's been great having you. And
thank you.
We're going to see you next week, and we're stoked. And before I start to, here we go. Follow them everywhere, but to their homes, please. Yes, don't.
Please don't follow me home.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you chimed in, GamerBud, again, because if you all want to be part of Team GamerBud, which is he's the sole patron of the Skelevator Patreon account, you can join him. There's lots of little perks. GamerBud gets a chat, gets to share a private chat with Oz and I, and that's an ongoing chat. It's daily. It's through Instagram. But also, I like to send out little artworks. I like to send out little things. So if you want to be part of that and you want to have sort of an inside scoop, like I sent GamerBud pictures of my finds this week. He sent pictures of his finds. If you want to know stuff before it happens, then do become a Patreon. Lots of good stuff over there, and there are different tiers that I'd like you to consider. I know money's tight. Money's tight for me for sure. Money's tight for everybody. Don't do it if you can't afford it. That's definitely hear me on that. But if you feel like contributing a few bucks, it might eventually, Oz and I were just talking about it, might eventually allow us to have the $20 a month StreamYard account, so we can do a few more things on here, which would be cool. So all those things. I think this has been a very long goodbye. I want to say have a great evening, everybody, and we'll see you in the next video.
See ya, everybody.